Ryan had always been a simple man. He was an engineer, not a soldier or a hero. His life was made of metal, wires, and quiet work inside the hull of ships. For years he traveled between colonies fixing what others broke. He liked the calm sound of engines and the feeling that machines could be trusted. They did not lie. They did not betray. They only did what they were built to do, but this time, his trust in machines had betrayed him. His cargo ship, Aurora's Path, was floating without power near the edge of the Forbidden Zone. The area was marked on every map with bright red warnings. No one went there. Old stories said ships vanished inside it and never came back. Ryan had only passed close because his ship's navigation system failed after a magnetic storm. The engines were dead. The lights dim and oxygen was running low. The blackness outside the window looked endless. Ryan sat in the control chair, trying to restart the power core for the 10th time. Sweat ran down his face, even though the air was cold. He knew that, when the oxygen dropped too low, he would not wake up again. He checked his wrist screen and whispered to himself, hoping to calm his nerves. The distress beacon was active, but no one had answered. The nearest human station was too far away. He took a deep breath and tried to think. He had one small power cell left. If he connected it directly to the reactor, he might get enough energy to send one strong signal. It was risky, but dying quietly was not an option. Ryan crawled into the service tunnel and opened the power hatch. His hands worked fast, connecting wires, checking levels, fixing the broken link. When he pressed the final switch, sparks flew. The ship shook violently, and a loud noise filled the air. Then everything went quiet again. The control panels stayed dark. The power cell had burned out. It was over. Ryan leaned against the wall and looked out the small window. Stars stretched across the dark like cold fire. He thought about Earth, about the blue sky he had not seen for years. He closed his eyes, ready to accept his fate then. Without warning, the stars shifted. A massive shadow moved across the void. Ryan's eyes widened. It was not an asteroid or debris. It was a ship bigger than anything he had ever seen. It glowed with silver light, symbols running across its hull like living lines. The design was nothing human. It was alien. The air around him hummed as energy washed over his ship. His screens blinked on, showing strange symbols. Then a voice spoke in a calm, melodic tone, but not in any language he knew. Moments later, his translator activated and formed words he could understand. Human life form detected. Life support failing. Authorization granted for emergency retrieval before Ryan could react. Light filled the cabin. His body felt weightless. He tried to move but could not. In a heartbeat, the ship disappeared around him, replaced by blinding white light. When the light faded, Ryan was standing on smooth metal floor under a high arched ceiling. Strange patterns glowed along the walls. Around him stood tall beings with pale silver skin and bright golden eyes. They wore long robes that shimmered like liquid glass. Ryan froze. The tallest one stepped forward. Her presence filled the space with quiet authority. A crown of crystal rested on her brow, and her long hair floated slightly as if the air itself obeyed her will. Her eyes met Ryan's, calm but powerful. "I am Queen Saren of the Valeri Empire," she said, her voice clear and soft. "You are aboard my flagship, the Solaris Crown. You were found near the border of the Void Zone. Your vessel was beyond repair." "You are safe now," Ryan blinked, trying to find words. "Safe? You mean I'm not your prisoner?" A few guards looked at each other with surprise, but the Queen smiled slightly. "Prisoner. No human. You are under royal protection?" She made a small gesture, and the walls around them changed color, turning into a transparent dome. Outside, Ryan saw the vastness of space and the broken remains of his ship drifting slowly. He felt a wave of sadness seeing it destroyed. Saren watched his expression. "That vessel would have taken your life within the hour. You are fortunate that our scouts found your distress signal." Ryan turned to her. "Then I owe you my life." The Queen shook her head. "No, it is I who owe you." Ryan frowned in confusion. "I don't understand." Saren walked closer, her golden eyes calm and thoughtful. "Months ago, a small Valeri ship crashed on the human border world of Orion 5. A human engineer repaired its systems, saving the lives of my scouts before they could be captured by raiders. That man was you. Ryan remembered the incident. He had helped a group of wounded travelers during one of his jobs, never knowing they were alien. They left quietly after paying him with strange crystals he had sold later. He never expected it to matter again. You mean that was your crew? Ryan asked quietly. Yes, Saren said. In doing so, you invoked the law of life debt, a sacred code among our people. It states that if one saves the life of a royal or any direct servant of the throne, that person becomes part of the royal bond. The law demands acknowledgement, and in my case, it demands union. Ryan blinked again, unsure if he heard right. Union? As in marriage? The Queen nodded slowly. By galactic law? Yes. Ryan took a step back, trying to understand. Wait, this must be a mistake. I didn't even know who they were. I only helped because it was the right thing to do. The law does not measure intention, Saren said. It measures action. Once declared, it cannot be undone. You have saved a part of my line, and thus, by the code of the ancients. You stand as my chosen equal. Ryan could feel the weight of the words. Around them, the Valeri nobles whispered softly. Some looked shocked, others angry. One of them, a tall male with sharp features, stepped forward and bowed. Your Majesty, this cannot stand. A human cannot fulfill the royal bond. He is not of our kind. Saren raised her hand, silencing him without a word. The law is not ours to bend, Varric. It has ruled the stars for 10,000 cycles. We obey, or we fall to chaos. The hall fell silent. Ryan stood there, feeling both overwhelmed and lost. He wanted to speak, but did not know what to say. The Queen's calm eyes rested on him again. You need not fear, she said softly. No harm will come to you. You will be treated with honor until the council meets. They will decide how to fulfill the law properly. Until then, you will remain under my protection. Ryan nodded slowly. I don't have a choice, do I? Saren gave a faint smile. No one truly has a choice when the stars themselves have already spoken. But perhaps fate has a purpose that neither of us can yet see. She turned to her guards and spoke a few words in her native tongue. They bowed and guided Ryan out of the chamber. As he walked through shining halls, filled with floating light orbs and soft hums, he could not shake the feeling that his life had changed forever from a broken engineer lost in space. He had become something far greater, something he never asked for. Somewhere deep in his heart, he wondered if this strange law would be his blessing or his curse. And above all, he wondered who Queen Saren truly was behind that calm, golden gaze that seemed to see far beyond stars. Ryan woke up in a room that looked nothing like any human design. The walls shimmered with soft silver light, and the air smelled clean and warm. A wide window opened to the stars, showing a distant blue planet below. For a long moment, he sat there silently, trying to believe this was real. Only yesterday, he had been ready to die. Now he was on an alien ship, saved by a queen who claimed that by law he was her chosen partner. He touched the smooth wall beside him, feeling the gentle vibration of power beneath it. Every surface seemed alive. When he stood, the floor lit up softly under his feet, following his steps. A small orb floated near the door and spoke in a calm tone. Good morning, human guest. The Queen requests your presence in the Hall of Harmony. Ryan sighed and ran a hand through his hair. All right. Lead the way. The orb floated ahead of him through the bright corridors. Everywhere he looked, Valeri citizens moved with quiet grace. They were tall and elegant, their clothes shining with soft colors that changed with the light. Some looked at him with curiosity, others with silent disapproval. Ryan could tell he did not belong here. The Hall of Harmony was vast. Its high ceiling was made of transparent crystal that showed the stars above. Long banners hung from the walls, each marked with glowing symbols. At the center stood Queen Saren, surrounded by members of her royal council. Her presence still had that same calm strength as before. Welcome, Ryan, she said as he entered. I hope your rest was peaceful. Ryan gave a small nod. It was better than freezing in my old ship, that's for sure, Some of the nobles frowned at his simple tone, but Saren only smiled faintly. I am pleased to hear it. Please, come closer. He stepped forward, stopping beside a circular platform. Saren turned to the council. We gather to discuss the fulfillment of the law of life debt. The human Ryan saved my scouts, and the ancient code demands recognition. Our people cannot ignore the law, for it is the foundation of peace among the stars. A noble named Varric stepped forward, his golden armor reflecting the light. His voice was calm but sharp. Your Majesty, the Council respects the law, but the human species is not part of our register of equal civilizations. They are young, barely reaching the stars. Can the law truly apply to one who does not even understand it? Saren's gaze turned toward him, unshaken. The law applies to all life capable of choice and courage. The human risked his life for mine. That is enough. Varric lowered his head slightly, but did not stop. Then perhaps a symbolic bond should be enough. We could honor him with gifts, declare peace with his people, and end this matter without a union. Before Saren could answer, another noble, a calm woman named Tira, spoke. We cannot break the chain of tradition. Varric, the last time a ruler ignored the life debt law, it brought war between 5 systems. The code is older than our empire. If we twist it now, others will question every law we hold. Silence filled the hall. Ryan stood awkwardly between them, feeling like a stone in the middle of a river. He wanted to speak, but it seemed dangerous to interrupt. Saren turned to him, her expression gentle. Ryan, I understand this must be strange for you. You were never told of our ways. If you wish, I will explain. Ryan nodded slowly. I just want to understand what's happening to me. Saren gestured toward a glowing screen that appeared beside her. It showed a pattern of stars forming a spiral. Long ago, the Valeri were not united. We fought over power and pride. Then the ancients created the law of life debt. It reminded us that life is sacred, and that courage must be honored above blood or race. The law states that if one saves the life of a ruler or their kin, they are bound to that line forever. The bond can take many forms: friendship, partnership, or union, depending on the situation. In my case, as a queen without a partner, the code declares a royal union. Ryan listened carefully. The logic sounded strange but sincere. So if I saved one of your people, that means I'm tied to your life forever. Yes, she said softly. And the council must decide how to honor that bond properly. But know this, human. You are not a prisoner here. You are part of our law now, and I will ensure your safety and dignity. He gave a small smile. You're kind, but I don't think your people are happy about me being here. Saren's eyes softened. They will learn. The Valeri have lived long, but even we must remember that strength comes from understanding, not fears. They spoke. Ryan noticed how Saren carried herself. She was graceful but not distant, powerful but never cruel. There was warmth in her voice that made him forget for a moment that she ruled over entire worlds. When the council dismissed, Saren turned to him. Walk with me. They moved through the ship's garden deck. Instead of soil, glowing crystals covered the ground, feeding light into tall, blue-leafed trees. The air smelled fresh and calm. Tiny creatures that looked like silver butterflies floated around them. Ryan looked around in awe. This place is beautiful. I didn't know ships could have something like this. It is our way to remember living worlds while traveling the stars, Saren said. Every Valeri ship carries a garden. It reminds us of our duty to preserve life, not destroy it. Ryan smiled. You sound different from what humans usually say about alien empires. Most think of aliens as conquerors. Saren stopped beside a glowing pond and looked at her reflection. Many do conquer, but the Valeri are guardians. Our empire stands because we protect the balance. The void creatures, the chaos storms, the broken stars, those are our true enemies. Ryan listened quietly. Then maybe humans have more to learn from you than I thought. Saren turned to face him, her expression calm but curious. And yet it is your kind that still holds the courage to act without law. You saved my scouts without knowing who they were. You risked yourself for strangers. That is something my people have forgotten. Ryan looked down, unsure how to answer. I didn't do anything special. I just couldn't let people die if I could help. Saren smiled faintly. That is exactly why the law exists, to remind us of such hearts. A soft breeze passed through the garden, carrying a faint hum from the ship's engines. Ryan felt more at peace than he had in days. Still, a question lingered in his mind. So what happens now? If the council agrees, does that mean I really have to be part of this royal bond? Yes, Saren said, but it is not forced. The law allows a choice through the trial of proof. If you wish, you can prove your worth through courage and earn full honor. Or you can refuse and be sent home with gifts and peace. Trial of proof? Ryan asked. It is a test of the heart, Saren explained. You will face a challenge chosen by the council. It is not about strength or power, but about will and character. If you pass, your place among the Valari will be accepted by all. If you fail, your name will still be remembered as one who honored the law, Ryan thought for a moment. So I get to prove that humans aren't just weak explorers to you? Her golden eyes brightened. Exactly that, he laughed quietly. Then I'll do it. I can't promise to win, but I'll try my best. Saren nodded with quiet pride. I believe you will surprise many here, including me. They continued walking through the garden until they reached a large window showing the distant stars. The ship was moving faster now, heading toward a glowing cluster of light. Saren stood beside him, her voice soft. We are traveling to the council's world. It is there you will face your trial. And it is there the fate of our bond will be decided. Ryan stared at the endless stars. All my life I wanted to see more of the galaxy. I just never thought I'd be doing it as part of something like this. Saren smiled gently. The stars choose strange paths for us all. As he stood beside her, Ryan realized that for the first time since leaving Earth, he did not feel completely alone. He was surrounded by strangers, tied to laws he barely understood, yet something about this journey felt right. Maybe destiny was not about where you came from, but about what you did when fate gave you a chance somewhere deep in the ship. The hum of engines grew louder, carrying them closer to the unknown world that would decide his future. And though Ryan did not know what waited ahead, he felt ready to face it. The journey to the council's world took 3 days. During that time, Ryan spent his hours learning about the Valeri Empire. The ship's orbs taught him their language and customs. He learned about the trial of proof, the sacred test that decided if someone was worthy of honor under the law of life-debt. No one had ever heard of a human taking it before. Queen Saren stayed busy with her council, but she still found time to visit Ryan. She often brought him to the observation deck, where stars stretched endlessly in every direction. Sometimes they spoke about their worlds. Saren described her people's long history, their wars, and their peace. Ryan told her about Earth, about the blue oceans and green forests, and the noise of city life. She listened with interest, and he could tell she found humans both strange and fascinating. On the 3rd day, the ship arrived at the Valeri capital world, Fazari Prime. From space, the planet looked like a silver pearl wrapped in clouds of light. Massive towers rose from the surface, and glowing platforms floated between them. Ryan had never seen anything so beautiful. The ship entered orbit and descended slowly until it reached a landing area surrounded by tall pillars of crystal. When the doors opened, a soft breeze greeted them. The air smelled of metal and rain. Valeri citizens lined the paths, watching silently as the queen walked beside Ryan toward the central tower. Many whispered as he passed, their golden eyes filled with curiosity and disbelief. Ryan felt nervous, but tried to walk with confidence. Saren's calm presence gave him courage. Inside the tower, the council of elders awaited them. 12 Valeri stood in a wide circle around a glowing platform. Each wore robes marked with ancient runes. Their faces were calm but unreadable. At the center of the room, a great holographic sphere showed the image of a dark planet surrounded by swirling clouds. One of the elders stepped forward. His voice was deep and commanding. Human Ryan of Earth, you have been chosen to face the trial of proof. The test will take place on the world of Nerith, a planet consumed by void creatures. The task is simple. You must protect the Valeri team sent to activate the defense towers that remain there. If you complete the mission and survive, you will earn the right to stand beside our queen under the law of life Ryan nodded. And if I fail, then your courage will still be remembered, but your bond will end. Saren stepped closer. You will not face it alone. Strike team of my finest guards will go with you. They know the dangers and will aid you in all ways possible. Ryan looked at her and gave a small smile. Then I'll do my best not to embarrass your people, the Queen smiled faintly. I do not doubt your heart. Ryan, the team left the same day aboard a smaller ship. The journey to Nereth was short but tense. Through the window, Ryan saw the planet covered in thick gray clouds. The surface below looked dark and broken, with flashes of lightning spreading across it. As the ship entered the atmosphere, the pilot spoke. Radiation is high. Stay in armor at all times. They landed near the ruins of an ancient city. Black stone towers leaned against the stormy sky, and strange shadows moved among the ruins. Ryan followed the soldiers as they unloaded equipment, wore silver suits that shimmered with energy shields. His own suit was simpler but strong enough to survive the planet's harsh air. The team's leader, a calm soldier named Kale, handed Ryan a small device. This will let you control the tower's systems once we reach it. Your skill with machines will be our best chance. Ryan nodded. Understood. Let's get to work. They moved quickly through the ruins, the sound of thunder echoing around them. The ground shook at times, and strange growls came from the mist. The void creatures were near. They looked like black smoke given shape, crawling with glowing red lines. When they attacked, they moved fast. Kale's soldiers fired energy weapons, creating bursts of light that tore through the dark creatures. Ryan stayed close, using his scanner to locate the old defense tower. When they reached it, he found the entrance blocked by debris. He used a plasma cutter to clear the path while the soldiers formed a circle around him. The tower was tall and ancient, its surface covered in strange markings. Inside, the power core was dead. Ryan worked quickly, connecting cables and restoring circuits. He remembered every lesson he had ever learned about energy systems. Sweat covered his face despite the cool air inside his suit. Outside, more creatures attacked. The soldiers shouted through the comms, but Ryan kept his focus. When he connected the final wire, the tower came alive with a deep hum. Light spread across the ground, forming a barrier of energy that pushed the creatures back. It's working, Kale said. The shield is rising. We have to reach the next tower before the energy fades. They moved toward the second tower through heavy fog. Ryan carried a small power converter to link both towers. Halfway there, the ground cracked open. Massive Void Beast rose from the hole, its body made of smoke and fire. It roared, and the air shook. Kale's team opened fire, but the creature absorbed their blasts. Ryan saw the converter fall from his hand and roll toward the edge of the pit. Without thinking, he ran after it. The ground broke under his feet, and he slipped down a slope, landing near the creature's shadow. Its glowing eyes turned toward him. Ryan's heart raced. He grabbed the converter and rolled to the side as the beast struck, its claws smashing the ground where he had stood. He knew he could not fight it. He looked around and saw a half-buried generator near the ruins. An idea formed in his mind. He connected the converter to the generator and linked his suit's power line. Kale, tell your team to aim for the beast's chest when I give the signal. Kale's voice came through the comm. What are you planning? Human. Just trust me. Ryan overloaded the generator and shouted. Now the soldiers fired, hitting the beast in the chest. At that moment, Ryan triggered the generator's surge. The energy exploded in a bright flash, sending a shockwave through the area. The void beast roared as its body broke apart, fading into smoke. The shock threw Ryan to the ground, his suit sparking. Kale ran to him. He's alive. Bring him back to the tower. When Ryan opened his eyes, he was inside the tower's control room. His body hurt, but he was alive. The power converter was active, linking both towers together. Outside, the energy barrier expanded across the valley, clearing the area of all remaining creatures. Kale placed a hand on his shoulder. You did it. The defense system is online. Nereth is safe for now. Ryan smiled weakly. Maybe. That's enough to prove that humans can be useful after all. Kale chuckled softly. You have earned our respect, Ryan of Earth. The Queen will be proud when they return to Vizari Prime. The entire landing bay was filled with Valeri citizens. The story of Ryan's bravery had spread quickly. The crowd watched as he stepped out of the ship, his suit still marked with burns. Queen Saren was waiting for him at the end of the platform. She looked at him with warmth and pride. "You have done what many believed impossible. The council has received your report, and they are unanimous. You have passed the trial of proof." Ryan bowed his head slightly. "I'm glad I didn't disappoint you," Saren smiled. "You have not disappointed me, Ryan. You have reminded my people what courage looks like." Varric, who had once doubted him, stood silently among the nobles. His expression was unreadable, but he gave a short nod of respect. For the first time, Ryan felt like he truly belonged here. Later that evening, Saren invited him to a quiet balcony overlooking the city. The sky above was filled with floating lights, and soft music drifted from distant towers. "You faced danger without hesitation," Saren said. "You saved not only my soldiers, but also the lives of many who will return to rebuild that world. You have proven your worth beyond question." Ryan leaned on the railing. "I just did what anyone would have done." She shook her head. "No. Many would have turned back, but you moved forward. That is what makes you different." Ryan looked at her, unsure what to say. The wind carried the soft glow of the city lights around them. For a moment, the galaxy felt quiet and peaceful. Saren turned to face him fully. "Tomorrow the council will declare the final stage of the law. The bond must be fulfilled before the entire assembly. You'll stand beside me, not as a stranger, but as one who has earned his place." Ryan smiled faintly. "Then I'll be ready. Whatever happens next, I'll face it the same way." Saren's eyes shone with pride. "I know you will," Ryan averred as the night deepened. The stars above Vizari Prime glowed brighter. Ryan looked at them and thought of home, of the small world far away that had given birth to him. He had come so far through danger and uncertainty, and now he stood at the heart of a galactic empire. He did not know what the future would bring. But one thing was certain: humanity's name had reached the stars, carried not by armies or machines, but by the courage of one man who refused to give up. The next morning, Vizari Prime was alive with activity. Citizens moved through the crystal streets, preparing for the council's official ceremony to acknowledge Ryan's success in the trial of proof. Flags and banners of silver and gold fluttered under the twin suns. The air smelled fresh and vibrant. The city sparkled with energy. Ryan stood beside Queen Saren on a balcony overlooking the capital. From this height, he could see the vast towers and floating platforms, the bridges of light connecting each spire. Citizens waved as the royal ship prepared to descend, welcoming them to the ceremonial hall. "It is strange to see such honor for one human," Ryan said quietly. "Back home, I would be considered just an ordinary engineer." Saren smiled gently. "Extraordinary actions do not depend on species, Ryan. Even humans, small in the galaxy, can make a difference." "Courage is universal," Ryan nodded, taking comfort in her words. For the first time, he truly believed that he could belong in this place, even if only for a short while. But not everyone shared this view. In the shadowed corridors of the council tower, Varric, the noble who had doubted Ryan's worth, paced angrily. His golden eyes burned with frustration. The human had passed the trial of proof, defeating the void creatures and proving his intelligence and courage. Varric's pride would not allow this truth. "The law cannot be bent for a human," Varric muttered to himself. "If the queen insists, she will ruin our tradition. I will not let this happen." Varric had spent months studying the ancient codes, waiting for the moment to find an opportunity. Now, seeing Ryan celebrated, he realized that subtle action would be required. Open rebellion would bring ruin upon him. He needed a plan that would appear accidental, something that would make the human look unworthy of trust. Meanwhile, Ryan spent his morning preparing for the council ceremony. He had been given a new suit, reinforced and decorated to match Valeri's standards. It was heavier than his usual armor, but he appreciated the protection it offered. Saren walked beside him, discussing the order of events and the expectations of the assembly. "You will stand with me before the council," she explained. "They will recognize your courage and your bond with me. Speak if you wish, but remember that respect is the most important value here." Ryan took a deep breath. "I think I understand. I just hope I do not say anything foolish." "You will not," Saren said calmly. "You have already proven yourself," the assembly began mid-morning. The great hall was vast, filled with Valeri nobles, elders, and citizens. Holographic lights danced across the walls, showing scenes of the trial of Proof and Ryan's achievements. The council elders took their seats, each glowing with authority. Queen Saren stood at the center. Ryan joined her on the ceremonial platform. As the ceremony progressed, Varric watched silently from his position among the council. No one could see the tension behind his calm expression, but inside, he was already executing his plan. The reactor core that powered the ceremonial hall had been slightly altered. Only a small adjustment would be needed, and the hall's energy flow would surge. It's causing chaos and blaming the human for negligence. The moment came during a brief pause in the ceremony. Varric triggered the device. The lights flickered, the floor trembled, and alarms echoed through the hall. Gas panels vented harmless but irritating smoke, causing panic among the attendees. Ryan instinctively stepped forward. He checked his console device on the ceremonial platform and realized that the hall's energy readings were fluctuating. He did not yet know it was sabotage, but he could see the danger. "Everyone, stay calm," he shouted. "The energy is unstable. Stand back from the platforms." Queen Saren's voice rang clearly over the alarms. "Ryan, what is happening?" "I don't know yet," Ryan admitted. "But I can stabilize it if I have access to the main control." Saren gestured to the nearest guards. "Grant him access immediately." The guards hesitated, but Ryan did not wait. He sprinted toward the control pedestal and connected his device. Within seconds, he was analyzing the core's power flow, rerouting energy and balancing the load. Sparks flew, and panels beeped as the system responded. Outside, Varric's plan began to fail. The sabotage had not accounted for human improvisation. Ryan quickly identified the hidden alteration and corrected it. The alarms stopped, lights returned to normal, and the smoke cleared. The council and the audience looked stunned. Varric's face remained calm, but the others began to murmur, realizing that the human had saved them all. Queen Saren turned to Ryan with an expression of pride. "You have done it," she said softly. "You have prevented disaster." Ryan wiped sweat from his forehead. "It seems trouble follows me, no matter where I go." Saren laughed gently, then turned her gaze toward the council. "Let this be a lesson. Courage is not measured by appearance or species. One's actions define their worth." The council nodded slowly. Even the elders who had doubted Ryan could not ignore the truth. His quick thinking and courage had preserved the lives of the assembly and upheld the safety of the queen. After the ceremony, Saren led Ryan to a private chamber. She closed the doors and gestured for him to sit. "Varric will not give up," she said quietly. "Even now, he schemes. But you have proven something more than courage. You have earned trust and respect. That is harder to take away." Ryan shook his head. "I don't know why he hates me so much. I only did what I had to sometimes. Pride blinds even the strongest," Saren said. "He cannot accept that someone outside his kind can act with the wisdom and skill he believes belongs only to the Valeri." They spent the afternoon discussing strategy. Ryan suggested ways to strengthen the ship and council systems against internal threats. Saren listened carefully, impressed with his practical approach. Though he had no military training, his engineering knowledge proved invaluable in identifying weaknesses in energy flows, communication networks, and defense protocols. By evening, the pair walked through the royal gardens. Floating lights shimmered above the plants, casting soft reflections on the crystal paths. "Tomorrow, the council will officially declare the bond," Saren said. "After what you have done, it will be accepted by all." Ryan looked at her. "It still feels strange to me. I came from Earth, a world no one here respects, and now I am standing as your equal in front of the galaxy." Saren smiled. "Perhaps it is strange. But that is the essence of the law of life-debt. It honors courage, not birthright. That is why you are here." The sound of distant music drifted from the palace towers. Ryan felt a quiet sense of belonging, though he knew the danger of Varric's scheme still lingered. He would have to remain alert, even as the council prepared to honor him. Night fell, and the twin moons of Azari Prime glowed softly over the city. Ryan stood beside Saren, looking at the stars. For the first time, he did not feel small or insignificant. He had faced creatures of the void, stabilized powerful technology, saved countless lives, and though danger still waited in the shadows, he was ready. He had proven that humanity could stand among the stars. Not by force, but by courage, intelligence, and a heart willing to act when others hesitated. Varric, in his private chamber, stared at the night sky, plotting and muttering, "This human has changed everything. But I will find a way. I will not be overshadowed." Ryan knew nothing of the schemes brewing in the dark, but he could feel the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders. He was no longer just an engineer. He was a representative of humanity, a protector of the Queen, and a symbol of what courage could achieve. As he turned back towards Surin, he felt a renewed determination. Whatever threats came, he would face them with the same mind and heart that had carried him through the trial of proof. The galaxy had shown him that humans could rise to greatness, and he intended to prove it once again tomorrow. The Council would see the full measure of his worth. Tonight, he would rest and prepare. The battle within the shadows was only beginning, and he was ready to meet it head-on. The morning of the Council's ceremony arrived with a calm brightness that spread over Vizari Prime. The twin suns reflected off the silver towers, filling the city with soft golden light. Citizens moved through the streets in orderly lines, eager to witness the historic event. Never before had a human stood in the heart of the Valeri Empire, and many had come to see how the law of life-debt would be fulfilled. Ryan dressed in ceremonial armor that gleamed with silver and gold. The suit was heavier than his usual gear, but he felt strong and prepared. As he adjusted the shoulder plates, Queen Siren approached him. Her robes shimmered in the morning sun, and her golden eyes met his with warmth and quiet pride. "Are you ready?" she asked softly. Ryan nodded. "As ready as I can be. I just hope I live up to what the Council expects." Siren smiled faintly. "Do not worry about expectation. Only courage, honesty, and honor matter today. You have proven all three. The two of them walked together through the streets. Citizens bowed or waved as they passed. Some whispered, others stared in awe. Ryan could feel the weight of their attention, but he drew strength from it. He was no longer just a human from Earth. He was a representative of his kind, a bridge between two worlds. At the Grand Hall, the council members waited, seated in a wide semicircle. The room was immense, with crystal ceilings stretching high above and floors polished to reflect the sunlight. Holographic banners floated in the air, displaying the achievements of Ryan during the trial of proof. The void creatures he had defeated and the defense towers he had activated were shown in vivid detail. The ceremony began with a resonant tone that echoed through the hall. Queen Siren stood at the center, her presence commanding attention. Ryan joined her at the ceremonial platform. The council president, an elder named Thalon, spoke first. "Today, we gather to honor the courage of a being from another world. Human Ryan of Earth has completed the trial of proof, demonstrating intelligence, bravery, and honor. The law of life debt binds him to Queen Siren. His place here is not given by blood, nor by privilege, but by action and virtue." A murmur spread across the assembly. Some nobles still doubted, but most were silent, waiting to see what would happen next. Varric sat among them, his expression carefully neutral, though his mind plotted quietly. Thalon continued, "By ancient tradition, a bond of union shall now be recognized. This bond is a symbol of respect, courage, and the unity of life across worlds. Let all who witness this know that actions define nobility." Ryan's heart pounded in his chest. He glanced at Siren, whose calm gaze reassured him. She extended her hand. "Ryan, will you stand with me? Not as a stranger, but as an equal under the law of our people?" Ryan took her hand firmly. "I will. I will stand with you, and I will honor this bond with all I can give." The council elders nodded in approval. The ceremonial lights brightened, and the banners above shimmered in recognition of the union. Citizens erupted in quiet applause, and many stepped forward to acknowledge Ryan's courage. Varric's attempt to undermine the human had failed. He stood, realizing that his schemes could no longer block what had been earned through action and honor. With a reluctant bow of respect, he acknowledged Ryan. Even those who had doubted could see that courage was not bound by species queen. Saren guided Ryan to the central platform. Together, they raised their joined hands toward the glowing holographic symbol of the law. The light spread through the hall, bathing them in a warm radiance. Ryan felt a sense of calm and purpose. He was no longer just a visitor in this alien empire. He was part of something greater, a bridge between Earth and the Valeri. After the ceremony, citizens and nobles alike approached them to offer congratulations. Ryan felt a deep sense of pride and humility. He was still the same engineer he had been before, but his actions had created a ripple across the galaxy. Humanity's courage was now recognized among the stars. In the evening, Saren led Ryan to the royal gardens. The twin moons cast a soft glow over the floating platforms and crystal trees. Light orbs hovered around, illuminating the path. The air smelled of fresh blossoms and energy. Saren said quietly, "Today marks the beginning of something new. Not only for you and me, but for our peoples. The bond we share is a symbol. It shows that even distant worlds can connect through honor and courage." Ryan looked around, feeling the weight and beauty of the moment. "I never imagined my life would lead here. I just wanted to survive the void. And now I am standing in an alien empire, recognized for what I did. It feels incredible." Saren smiled softly. "You have earned it. And I hope you know this is only the beginning. Together, we can guide our people to a future where courage and wisdom are honored above fear or prejudice." Ryan nodded. "I will do my best. For you, for your people, and for humanity." The two of them walked through the gardens in silence, letting the calmness of the night settle over them. Floating lights reflected in Ryan's eyes, and he felt a rare peace. After all the trials, danger, and uncertainty, he had found a place where he could make a difference. The next days were filled with celebrations. Ambassadors from other systems came to witness the union. Humans visiting the Valeri ships were welcomed with respect. Stories of Ryan's courage spread quickly across the galaxy. He became a symbol not of conquest, but of the potential for cooperation and mutual respect between worlds. Ryan worked closely with Saren to learn more about Valeri governance and diplomacy. He used his human perspective to offer ideas that the Valeri had never considered. His suggestions helped improve communication networks, resource management, and defense systems. In turn, Saren and her council taught him about their culture, history, and philosophy. Through this exchange, Ryan realized that the galaxy was vast and complex, but not impossible to understand. Humans, he thought, were small, but they had hearts capable of great courage. Their actions could ripple across worlds, changing the course of civilizations. One evening, as the twin moons rose high over Vizari Prime, Ryan and Saren stood on the balcony of the royal palace. The city sparkled below them, and ships moved silently across the sky. "You have done more than survive, Ryan," Saren said. "You have shown my people that courage is not defined by size, strength, or species. It is defined by choice." Ryan smiled. "I just did what I had to do. But it feels good to know that humans are seen differently now." Saren looked at him with warmth. "They are. And you will always be remembered as the one who brought our worlds closer." The stars above seemed to shine brighter that night. Ryan felt hope, not just for himself, but for Earth and the Valeri Empire. He had learned that even in the vastness of space, courage, honor, and compassion could bridge the impossible. From that moment, Ryan and Saren worked together, not just as partners under law, but as equals guiding to civilizations toward cooperation and peace. Humans were no longer strangers in the galaxy. They were allies, friends, and sometimes heroes. The story of Ryan and Saren became a legend. Told in every system from the smallest outpost to the largest capital, it was a story of bravery, wisdom, and the power of choice. Above all, it was proof that humanity, when acting with courage and honor, could inspire change across the stars. And as the light of the twin moons reflected on the city, Ryan knew that this was only the beginning. Together, he and Siren would face whatever challenges came next, standing as equals, partners, and friends. Humanity had found its place among the stars, and Ryan had become the bridge that connected to worlds forever.